everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our adventures in the world of dreams last week, we're headed to the Canadian wilderness as we play Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Frost from Chaosium Inc. This is a solo RPG, and we've featured it on the channel before. It's been a while though, so what say we go through the intro and explanation to scrape some of the rust off. So we'll just read a little bit of the intro out of the book. Let's see, where do I want to start? We'll start with introducing Dr. Nadelman. You may play Dr. Nadelman as either a man or a woman. Decide this before you begin your expedition. And I'm going to play her as Lori Carol Nadelman. You are the youngest PhD to be tenured at Miskatonic University in Arkham, Massachusetts. You're a rising star in the new field of cultural anthropology. Even your European counterparts are impressed by your cascade of learned articles. Your theories are exciting, your classes are always full, and your students idolize you. Previous expeditions on your resume have been just sensational enough to draw the favorable attention of the press to the university in general, and to the Department of Anthropology in particular. Rumors abound about large private endowments for your specialty. Your department head and college administrators often invite you to dinner. So that's a little bit about Dr. Nadelman. Next we'll move over to the character sheets for our entire party. Being that this is an expedition, we have an entire team to take along with us. We'll meet them, I'm sure, as we go through the rest of the adventure. We'll start off first with our guide, Charlie Foxtail. Let's see. It's probably going to be a little bit hard to read the stats, but basically the way this will work out is as long as our party is awake and aware, when the adventure calls for a skill roll, we can have one of them make the skill roll for us. And we need to be at or below what we roll to pass the skill check. So then we've got 3 graduate students. Actually, let's go through a little bit of the background, because each of these come pre-printed with background on the characters. So for the personal description on Charlie, a First Nature's woman with black hair, high cheekbones, and angular facial features. And as far as a trait to note is cautious. Charlie seems skeptical about your intentions for the expedition, but you quickly see she's a woman you can work with. That's all we've got there. Then we'll take a look at the first of our graduate students, Sylvia Davidson. You can see the stats there. It might be a little bit hard to... You can pause that and probably read it. We'll take a look at Sylvia's backstory. A Caucasian woman with dark auburn hair pulled into a bun. She has a condescending expression and wears glasses. As far as traits, she's determined and conscientious, if a little too serious. Good to know there. Next up, we've got Norman Faulkner, another graduate student. Wow, he's an old grad student. Once again, you can pause the skills there to look at that. And as far as his backstory, an Asian man with short black hair, a square jaw, and a serious demeanor. Traits. Never the quickest to pick up a subtle point, Norman compensates with a dogged persistence, which is a quality you value highly in the field. And our last of our party, Bernard Epstein, another graduate student. You can see the stats there. And his backstory. A Caucasian man with curly light brown hair, a round face with full cheeks, and a coy smile. And unswervingly polite and generous with his time. Let's see, and then Lori Carroll doesn't really have much to speak of. But I think with that, we're all set here. So let's go ahead and move over to the main board and we'll jump into this adventure. I doubt the Dice Tower will be leaving the shop today, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. We'll go through a little bit more intro. You, Dr. Lori Carol Nadelman, have long been fascinated by the prehistory of North America, particularly with the big woods of the north. The Canadian wilderness remains as unexplored as the Amazon basin, and hunters, trappers, and gold seekers tell hair-raising stories of the peoples in the area. Of course, they also tell tales of terrifying demons and other exotic fantasies. The time is right to bring a rigorous academic perspective to the big woods. The truth hidden there is doubtless more fascinating than any traveler's yarn. For over a year, you have petitioned your department to finance a modest summer exploratory trip into Canada's Northwest Territories. Now, at last, your funding has been approved, and you make your preparations to leave at the end of the spring semester. Many of your graduate students are eager to go, but you can only take 3. You have chosen to explore the valley of the North Hanina. In the local dialect, Hanina means the river of magic power. The yarn spinners have worked overtime on the legends of the North Hanina. It is said to be haunted by invisible presences and bloodthirsty headhunters. A part of the valley where a party of prospectors was found beheaded is still known as Headsman's Glen. Your small expedition takes the train into north-central Canada and then boards a chartered launch to Great Slave Lake and down the Mackenzie to Fort Macdonald, where an outpost of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police represents the sole power of civilization amidst many thousands of square miles of mountains, lakes, taiga, and swamps. Fort Macdonald is a trading post for trappers and natives. The best route into the valley of the North Hanina is upstream by canoe, following the west branch of the Mackenzie to the mouth of the tributary you seek. A single bark canoe of excellent make has been reserved for you, as well as all the basic gear that your summer trip requires. Officials tell you that guides are reluctant to venture into the North Hanina. The local peoples have always shunned the region, and most of the white men who dared to trespass upon the river of magic power never returned. Still, you locate a tough professional guide named Charlie Foxtail. She narrows her eyes upon hearing of your destination, but is persuaded by the high wages you are offering. Finally, all is ready to go. To begin your adventure, go to 1. Before we do, I am going to need a pencil just to keep track of everything over on the character sheet. We'll do a little bit of adjusting on getting that lead out. I just want to make sure this pencil is okay. All good to go. All right. So into Adventure 1 we go, or Passage 1. After a few days on the west branch of the Mackenzie, the stuffy corridors at Miskatonic University seem very far away. Sun stipples the water, from the glare of midday to the gentle burn of sunset. Caribou gaze at you from the shore. Ahead, a heron drags an unfortunate stickleback from the shallows. It would feel like a vacation were it not for the relentless demand of the paddle. Each day makes the students more adept at keeping time with you and Charlie. Your supply of gasoline is limited, so you run the outboard motor as seldom as possible. Sun and wind grant Bernard the outdoor complexion he desires. You locate the tributary one evening, just as the light begins to fail. Next day, you launch into the North Hanina. The Ram Mountains loom in the distance through a heat haze. At this latitude, the summer nights are so short that darkness gives the waterways no time to cool. Norman wipes sweat from the back of his head. The North Hanina is a rougher river than the West Branch. Its floodplain is obstructed by sandbars, hills of driftwood, shingle islands, and forests of dead trees rooted in the mud. The current points all of them downstream, like arrows warning you to turn back. Sylvia turns to your guide. Charlie, does your people live in this area? Charlie grunts and watches the water. For a moment it seems she will not answer. Then she looks at Sylvia. At one time. Now, only outcasts. We will avoid them. Sylvia frowns. Why are they? But Charlie raises a hand. From ahead, slowly building, you hear the roar of rushing water. This is the place of the splitting water, she says. Here, the river is alive. Each day it makes itself new. Make a luck roll. If you succeed, go to 2. If you fail, go to 3. So here is actually where I could have somebody else in the party stand in and make the roll for us. So looking at my luck, Dr. Nadelman's an 85. Bernard's a 25. He'd be terrible at this roll. 55 for Norman, 65 for Sylvia, and 45 for Charlie. So I'll have Dr. Nadelman make this roll herself. Now, the main part of the roll is we'll be rolling our percentile dice. We've got a tens die here and a units die over here. So we need to be at or below 85 to pass this. And each character, I probably glossed over this when I mentioned it, but each character has several stats that we need to be mindful of. Luck, which we can spend to manipulate rolls. Hit points. Sanity points, which might be taxed on over the course of the adventure. And magic points, which I've never encountered. Right now, I'm mainly concerned with the luck. Dr. Nadelman's at an 85. That's a 1, so we definitely clear that very easily. So that brings us... What did we want? I think we wanted passage 2 coming out of that. Yes. The expedition spends the day working through a baffling network of waterways. Sometimes you are forced to back down impassable channels to find an easier way. Sometimes you blunder across the heads of powerful chutes and are swept along with them. At certain points, your party has to wade in waist-deep water, inching the craft along by hand. You pass labyrinths of wooded islands, fast water, and drift. Finally, you select a peaceful backwater in which to moor and make camp for the night. Roll 1d10. If the result is even, go to 4. If it's odd, go to 5. All right, so we'll grab a d10. There's the lid. Let's see, even, I believe, sent us to 4, didn't it? Yes, even to 4. You take first watch that night, while the others sleep after an exhausting day. The brief darkness is disturbed by the splash of beavers in the stream, the trilling of insects, and the hoot of a great gray owl. Make a listen roll. If you succeed, go to 9. If you fail, go to 8. Now the rest of the party is awake, or is asleep, so Dr. Nadelman has to make the roll herself. She's at a base of 20. This is not going to be great, most likely. So remember, we want to roll at or below 20%. Which that's a 23, so I think I will spend 3 luck points to bring her down to 82, but that will pass the roll. So that will bring us to 9. As you listen, you hear a peculiar scurrying in the undergrowth. Just beyond the glow of the campfire, something is moving. The sound stops near the spot where your graduate assistant, Bernard Epstein, is snoring faintly. You pick up a weapon and pad through the silence. A heavy sky blocks the moon and stars. It is only by a sudden flaring of the fire that you see the intruders. Tiny figures walking upright. You have only an instant to decide what to do. If you shoot at the intruders, make a hard firearms, rifle or shotgun roll because of the conditions. If you hit your target, go to 16. If you miss or don't shoot, go to 17. So a hard roll means, let's see if we have it here. We do. So a hard roll means we need to get to half of the skill value rounded down, which in this case would be a 22 that we're trying to make. I think we'll go ahead and take a shot. So remember, we need to make a 22 to pass this. That's a 69, so we definitely fail that. And I'm not going to spend... That would require me to spend 47 luck to get to that. So we're not going to do that. Go to 17. Startled, the apparitions vanish into the brush. You yell to wake your comrades. They spring from their bedrolls, rifles in hand. "What is it, Doc?" gasps Epstein. You explain that you saw strange little beings standing over him as he slept. Charlie gasps. "We cannot stay here. We must leave the North Hanina." You ask her to explain, but she only shakes her head. Charlie does not seem like a woman who is easily frightened. To draw her out, make a persuade roll. If you succeed, go to 35. If you fail, go to 26. So the rest of our party is awake. We can't use Charlie to make this roll. Who's got our best persuade? Dr. Natalie's got a persuade at 50, 10, 10, and 10. I guess it's Dr. Natalman who's making this roll as well. She's at a persuade of a 50. That's a 26, so she passes. Which brings us to 35. There we are. You manage to calm down the distraught guide. You speak the truth, Professor, she says. My people tell these stories to our children, but I am rational, like you. After a few moments, she draws closer and lowers her voice. The tracks are like some I saw when I was a girl. The night before, a child of our village had vanished. A hint of fear returns to her eyes. They say that when someone is taken by the little ones, the puckwoogies, they do not come back. Or worse, they do come back, but they are not the same. Although skeptical, you listen to Charlie's stories with patience. Talking it out has helped your guide, and she is fit to go on. Go to 10. Okay, 10. At dawn, you set off again. The day turns into a scorcher. Rocks in the stream are hot to the touch. There's beauty under the shimmering heat, too. Let me see if I can zoom in to focus this a little better. The wet sands by the water's edge are hidden under a vibrating carpet of blue, a host of small azure butterflies basking in the warmth. Pausing a moment from your canoeing, you scan the shores for any sign of life. You catch a flash of someone standing by the river shore, half hidden by a bushy juniper. Before you can adjust your binoculars, the stranger is out of sight. To paddle the shore to investigate, go to 18. To continue on until camping time, go to 20. Let's continue on until it's time to set up camp. Paddling is a familiar rhythm now, and you permit periods of rest using the outboard motor. Your determined group proceeds mile after mile toward your primary goal, Headsman's Glen. The valley is crowded in by steep hills, small mountains, and rough stands of jack pines, black spruces, and balsam firs. Following Charlie's advice, your party sets up a semi-permanent camp, giving access to fish and game as well as some refuge should the local peoples prove hostile. In the days that follow, your party makes periodic excursions, seeking evidence of human inhabitants. It begins to look like you will be disappointed. If any of your party requires healing, you may restore 1 hit point each, then go to 21. Nobody requires healing right now, so off to 21 we go. Following another day of fruitless exploration along the floor of the valley, come on. Your party fixes a hearty supper of stone-baked biscuits, jerky, and beans. Gnats and mosquitoes swarm close, but the smoke from your fire drives the worst of the pests away. While you eat, you notice Charlie is withdrawn from the group. You attempt to include her by asking if she has any campfire songs or hair-raising stories. It is bad luck to speak of such things, she grunts. The woods do not like to be mocked. She gets to her feet and scans the perimeter of the camp, sniffing the air. You raise an eyebrow. Moose, she says, before you can frame your question. It is nothing. It is time we went to bed. You draw in a deep breath, scenting nothing but the food, the smoke, and the fresh odor of the river. Nonetheless, Charlie's manner has affected your party's mood, and they are all ready to call it a day. To take the first watch yourself, go to 40. To trust it to Bernard, go to 46. I think we'll have Bernard take the first watch. So go to 46. Leaving Bernard Epstein on watch, your party turns in, each to their own small tent. You throw your eider-down roll over a mat of branches and cover it with a sheet. Yawning, you take a last look outside. The camp is bedded down and everything is in its place. That night, you dream of walking naked across a snowfield. Your shivering becomes more pronounced with every step you take. When you wake in your sleeping role, you realize that the temperature is, at least, no dream. Frigid branches crack outside, tossed by frosty gusts, but you hear something else. A breathy, chilling voice on the wind. It whispers two clear syllables, like ancient wilderness given speech. Epstein. You tell yourself it is only one of your companions calling the graduate student, but it comes again, and you know it's no earthly sound. Epstein. You rise, throw on your jacket, and seize your weapons. As you lift the tent flap, you see Bernard at the camp's edge, staring into the woods. He gives an unintelligible shout and darts into the blackness of the encroaching trees. To run after your student, go to 47. To rouse the rest of the party first, go to 71. This is a tough decision because on the one hand, we don't have time really to rouse the rest of the party, but on the other, there's safety in numbers. So I think we're going to go to 71, try to rouse the rest of the party. You rouse Charlie, Norman, and Sylvia. As they yawn and blink, you tell them what happened and demand their help. No, Charlie grabs you. We must not seek the boy. He has heard the call of the great Windwalker. He is lost to you. We must flee. To insist on pursuing Bernard, go to 521. To take Charlie's advice, go to 32. Let's insist on going after Bernard, so 521. Charlie's fevered eyes bore into yours. Bernard's disappearance has awakened a powerful terror within her. How can you get through to your superstitious guide? Attempt a regular persuade or hard psychoanalysis roll, your choice. If you succeed, go to 522. If you fail, and go to 123. Regular persuade or hard psychoanalysis. If we use persuade, it's probably Dr. Nadelman. Psychoanalysis, all ones, regular persuade from Dr. Nadelman it is. So once again, we need a 50 to clear this. That is a 27, so we pass. That brings us to 522. Okay, Professor, Charlie glares at you. We who live all our life in this land can never know its ways so well as those from other countries. We will search for the boy. You and the others fall in behind your sullen hunting guide. Make a hard roll against Charlie's track. If she succeeds, go to 525. If not, go to 523. Okay, these opposed rolls are not something I've done for quite a while. So let me see if I can... I gotta double check how these opposed rolls work. If I remember correctly, I make a... Actually, I think it's just a regular hard roll against Charlie's track. So her track is 80, but I need to clear a 40 because it's a hard roll. I thought it was an opposed roll, but it's not. It's just a hard roll on Charlie's track. So 40 is what we need. That's a 10, so we actually passed that. That's a hard success. That's a... I don't think that's quite an extreme... Actually, that would be an extreme success, but this doesn't recognize the... So 525. Charlie follows Bernard's route for about 20 minutes. His tracks are soon joined by those of some large animal, or what you suppose is an animal. It has hooves of a kind, large round crescents showing an irregular edge, but no split. The farther your party goes, the more agitated Charlie becomes. Eventually, the strides made by your student and the creature extend to an unbelievable length and then vanish completely. In the receding dusting of the snow, it seems that Bernard's final prints alter in shape. At the end, they are nothing but round impressions, identical to those of the animal. "Aye!" Charlie cries, no longer able to contain her welling fear. You explain that the melting snow has distorted and erased the tracks and that it has nothing to do with the Windwalker legend. Charlie looks at you, eyes wide. Make a hard psychoanalysis roll. If you succeed, go to 526. If not, go to 123. We'll be going to 123 in a second. We'll make the psychoanalysis roll for formality's sake. Because it is possible to roll a 1. Not likely, but it can happen. And I think psychoanalysis is probably going to be... yeah, Dr. Nadelman. I'm not spending 44 luck to make that work, and before we go to 123, which I believe is where we needed to go, yes. Before we go to 123, I need to take a small break. Looking for 123. Charlie grabs her rifle and points it at your heart. You don't know what you do, she cries. I will not tempt the will of Ithaquani. She backs away, keeping you covered, before turning and running. You follow at a safe distance, only to find that she has taken the canoe, a share of the supplies, and vanished. Record the keyword barefoot. Go to 95. Oh joy. Keyword. That is not remotely a good sign. And 95 is where we're going. Norman finally speaks. What will we do now, Professor? On a related note, it sounds like Bernard is lost to us as well. Norman finally speaks. What will we do now, Professor? Sylvia, her face lit by flickering flames, looks at you like a hopeful orphan. Charlie is gone, but you cannot abandon Bernard when there is a chance of finding him alive. At that moment, a clear cry rings from above. You look to the sky. My feet! My flaming feet! My heart! The plaintive call cuts off abruptly, and you hear something heavy crashing down through the treetops, breaking branches as it plummets. You tell the others to get their guns. You stand over the fire, a nervous finger on your trigger. Hours pass. Finally, a twig snaps. Then another. Unhurried, something steps from the bush. To shoot at the first sight of the figure, go to 138. To let it come closer, go to 101. I feel like the better idea here is to take a shot at it, because we're somewhere we're not familiar with. And we've already had one of our companions run off. We've already had 2 companions run off. I think right now we're at shoot first. Shoot first, ask questions later. So 138. You open fire on the advancing figure. Make a firearms rifle shotgun roll. If your attack succeeds, go to 100. If it fails, go to 101. So firearms rifle shotgun. We'll have Norman take the shot. He's got a 50. He's also got 55 luck, so we could spend some luck points on this. That's a 79. I'm not spending 29 luck points on this. So the shot misses, which sends us to 101. You drop the gun, overwhelmed by how close you came to utter disaster. Bernard takes a couple of oddly balanced steps forward. Something about his stride is weird. Is he limping? You glance down at his feet. They are hidden beneath a shapeless wrapping of rags from his shirt and jacket. Nagged by irrational doubts, but trying to be logical, you urge him over to the fire. Bernard? Is that really you? Sylvia's voice quavers. The figure chortles, his voice broken. Something inside you cringes as he walks up to the fire. His skin is sallow. His features hang slack on his skull. For a moment, you imagine something bestial is peering out through the holes of a human mask. Intellectually, you want to accept this person as Bernard. Emotionally, you're not so sure. Make an anthropology roll. If you succeed, go to 102. If you fail, go to 139. Anthropology roll, and Bernard is not available to us right now. 40, 30. Dr. Nadeline at 75 it is. And once again, she's still got most of her luck to spare on this. So we need a 75 or lower. That's a 38, so we passed that with flying colors. Not quite a hard success, but it's good enough here. So go to 102. Up. No matter what it looks like, this thing cannot be Bernard Epstein. Whether it is his mortal shell possessed, you do not know. But you now remember what you heard about those chosen by Ithequani. Such a thing must be destroyed. But you, a rational academic, cannot think such thoughts. Surely you are unhinged even to consider them. Go to 177. Well, I wonder about that. 177, huh? The students will not understand your action, but you are the expedition leader, and their survival is your responsibility. Roll 1d6. If the result is 1 to 4, go to 106. If the result is 5 to 6, go to 103. I think I know what 103 was going to be now, but let's find out what we roll. On this die, I believe yes. The elder sign is a 6. That's a 2, so we go to, I believe it was 106 if we rolled a 2. Yep, so 106. Come on. Okay. Alright, 106. You draw a stiff, burning brand from the campfire and then creep up behind the supposed monster. When he begins to turn his head, you strike. The Windwalker's dex is 15. Make an opposed dex roll to determine the outcome of your attack. If you win the roll, go to 140. If you lose, go to 141. Okay, so... Right, so now's where I need to know about the opposed rolls. I believe we both make a dex roll, and whoever has the better success wins. So dex 70, it's going to be Dr. Nadeline who makes the roll. And I need another set of percentile dice. I think tie goes to, I think success goes to the lower, or tie goes to the lower success. So we'll roll these dice for Dr. Nadelman, and then these for the Windwalker. The Windwalker's result is 15. It said the Windwalker's dex was 15, I believe. Right? Yes. Okay. Okay, so an 86 to an 81. Like I said, I need to double check how these opposed rolls work. It's been quite a while since I played Call of Cthulhu. Where in the world? I've got the investigator rulebook over here off camera that I'm trying to consult. And I'm trying to find if there's an index in here. Ah, yes, there is. Here we go. Do opposed roll 8290 FF. Okay, so outside of combat, both sides declare a mutually exclusive goal. Okay, so roll above is above the character's skill or characteristic. So we both failed. The side with the higher skill or characteristic wins. So Dr. Nadelman actually wins the roll because we both failed. So that brings us to 140. The impaled creature gurgles and goes stiff. As you watch in amazement, its body shrinks and collapses in upon itself. Soon nothing is left but the bones, as though he had no real flesh left to him. You, Norman, and Sylvia must begin the long retreat back to Fort MacDonald. Gain 1d6 sanity for triumphing over the Windwalker. Go to 54. Nobody had lost any sanity, so we go straight to 54. The forage so far has been adequate to sustain the three of you, but it is no small undertaking to march over more than 100 miles of virgin wilderness. Sometimes, the banks of the North Hanina are too swampy or too sheer to follow. Your party must cross canyons and deep woods without losing its bearing. Go to 324. That sounds like a daunting challenge. 324. Okay. You and the two students travel over trackless woods on short rations. From day to day, the air cools as the short summer declines into the rugged subarctic autumn. If your party requires healing, you may restore 1 hit point each. To follow the river, go to 470. To scale a ridge, go to 469. To thread through light woodland, go to 218. To penetrate deeper into the forest, go to 557. To concentrate on finding supplies, make a luck roll. If you succeed, go to 654. If you fail, go to 132. Well, I think our biggest priority right now is trying to find supplies. So I will put Dr. Nadelman in charge of that with her luck of 82. So we'll get that off shot in case I need another opposed roll. Ugh, that's a 95. Do I want to spend... I don't think I can spend enough luck to pass that because that'll keep moving the goalpost essentially. So I think I just fail that. So go to 132. The worst fear of the northern wayfarer has befallen your group: hunger. You do your best to forage for food, but the pickings are scant when it comes to filling 3 bellies. Make a survival woodland roll. If you succeed, go to 54. If you fail, go to 197. Survival woodland, 20, 10, 45. It's Dr. Nadelman once again. So we're trying to make a 45 here or less. Exacxies. That's a 4. It's hard to see, but that's exacxies. Let me see if I can zoom in just a touch. Yeah, it's hard to see, but it is exacxies. So we pass that, which sends us to 54. Wait. What? Hold on. Something. Okay, back to 54. And then back to 324 again. We saw this passage. I think we're at the same passage we had earlier, aren't we? Yes. Okay, so we couldn't find supplies, which means now I think we'll follow the river. So we'll go to 470. Here we are. 470. You trek on through the wilderness. It feels like you have lived here for years. If you have the keyword Inchcape, go to 471. If not, go to 82. We do not have the keyword Inchcape, so we're going to 82. You and Norman bed down near the fire while Sylvia stands watch. You study each of your companions for a few minutes. Norman, a man in his 40s, trembles beneath his sheet. Sylvia scans the camp perimeter obsessively, gripping her rifle. The loss of Bernard and Charlie have affected both students. You hope that you can get them back to civilization before hardship drives one or both over the edge. Norman shakes you awake, staring out to the trees. There was a noise, he hisses. Sylvia's gone. You spring to your feet, throw on your jacket, and pick up your rifle from the ground. Despite the small hours of the morning, the subarctic dawn is breaking. A search of the surrounding ground turns up the tracks of Sylvia's abductors. They are not quite what you expect. Oversized, bare feet. To follow the tracks, go to 128. To give Sylvia up for lost and try to save Norman, go to 279. This is a... oh boy. Well, I think we better try to save Sylvia, so we're going to 128, which is going to follow the tracks. You sense Norman's reluctance, but he grips his rifle and falls into step behind you. Together, you do your best to follow the trail of Sylvia's abductor. Attempt a track roll. If you succeed, go to 188. If you fail, go to 190. Let's see, what is our track? Base 10. Norman's is a little better at 15, so we're going to have him try it. He's got 55 luck, so we're looking at a 15. This is not going to be great. $47 is not worth spending 32 luck on, so that's going to be a miserable fail. Where did we... Here we go, 190. Okay. When the tracks climb a slope of jagged talus, the trail vanishes. You search for the remainder of the day but fail to reacquire it. Finally, you and Norman sit together in silence. Neither of you wants to admit that Sylvia is just as lost as Bernard, but you are out of options and must return to civilization. Go to 279. Well, we're just watching the expedition fall apart, so 279. Here we go. The journey before you and Norman promises to be long and hard. Neither of us require healing. To strike as direct a route as possible, go to 295. To hold parallel to the river's course, go to 280. To search for existing trails, go to 297. To explore rocky terrain, go to 595. To camp first and regain a little strength, make a luck roll. If you succeed, go to 296. If you fail, go to 298. I think at this point we're probably on the Gitful plan, but I do want to try to get some strength first. We'll make a luck roll, and we'll put Dr. Nadelman on that with an 82. That's a 37, so we pass that. Which brings us to 296. The threatening chorus of howls out in the pine forest has Norman jumpy. You decide to halt at a cave for the night and take advantage of its protection against predators. The two of you build a fire in the entrance and settle down inside your ragged blankets. As you drift towards sleep, you become conscious of something breathing at the back of the cave. Something huge. You alert Norman. Then you hear it stir. Its odor rises to press upon you, a sickening stench you can hardly bear. To shoot at the unseen creature, go to 325. To wait and see what happens, go to 326. Let's wait and see what happens. Go to 326. Holding your trigger finger steady, you allow the reeking hulk in the rear of the cave to shuffle out into the light of your night fire. It is a gigantic biped with the face of an ape. Make a sanity roll. If you fail, lose 1d6 sanity, then go to 493. Sanity is 80 for Dr. Nadelman. So we'll have her make the roll. That's a 22, so we pass. Then after that, we go to... Where were we? I just lost my... Oh, here we go. 493. Here we are. A gigantic hairy shape shuffles out before you. At first, you mistake it for a gorilla, but at second glance, your anthropologist's eyes mark it as a species never before described scientifically. The appropriate action here is to offer it food as a gesture of friendship. Make a luck roll. If you succeed, go to 419. If you fail, go to 325. New species, and our first thought is to offer it food. Well, if anybody's going to pass this check, Dr. Nadelin's going to be our lady. That's an 86. Let me see if it works on luck rolls, because I assumed... Let me see if spending luck works on luck rolls. I had assumed it didn't, but I might be wrong. Uh, 99. May not be spent on luck rolls. Okay, that's what I thought. So unfortunately, we do fail that. That was not... This is probably not going to be a smart thing to have done, Dr. Nadelman. Is that where we're going? Yes, okay. Right. You fire at the source of the breathing. The muzzle flash paints the walls of the cave. Attempt a hard firearms rifle shotgun roll with your rifle. If you inflict 8 points of damage or more, go to 373. If you miss or score less damage, go to 376. Okay, so we need to make that's a hard rifle roll. That'll be against a 22. Norman's better with 25. So we do need to make a hard roll. How much damage would he be doing? The rifle, 2d6 plus 4. Well, first we gotta make the hard roll, which we established was a 25. And we can spend luck on this. 78, not for 50, that would be 53 luck that we have to spend, so we miss. Which sends us to 376. Oop, way too far. The creature shrieks with rage and then charges like a locomotive. It is too close to gunfire. Or too close for gunfire. You and Norman must take up melee weapons. The beast's attack is 30%, 15 for hard, 6 for extreme, and its powerful arms deal 2d6 damage. It has 18 hit points, which you may have already reduced, which we didn't. If both you and Norman survive the fight, go to 378. If Norman is killed and you have taken a major wound, go to 191. If you have not taken a major wound, go to 341. All right, I need to check how combat works, but I also need to take a small break. Okay, took me a minute to get combat figured out, but I think I've got it straight now. So I've got the dex order set up off camera. Norman's going to be attacking first, then Dr. Nadelman, then our unknown beast. Since it doesn't specify dex, I'm having it go last. So Norman's going to is going to hack at this thing with his hatchet. His skill for that is a 55. .48's good enough to hit, which means the hatchet for him will do d6 plus 1 plus his damage bonus, which his damage bonus is... Okay, he doesn't have any damage bonus. So d6 plus 1. That's 4 or 5 damage. So it's already down to 13. Then Dr. Nadelman will use her base brawl with her hatchet. That's a 25 for her. .73 is a miss, And then the beast, let's go, we'll use a d6. Odds he attacks Norman, evens he attacks Dr. Nadelman. Odds he's attacking Norman. So 30%. 30, which is a miss, so we're back to Norman, who's swinging with the hatchet again. 55 is what we need. Norman actually gets a shot to die. Well, he missed anyway, so never mind that. Norman looking at a 55. 27's another hit. So d6 plus 1 plus damage bonus. 1 plus 1 is 2, so 11. Dr. Nadelman looking for a 25. '19's good for a hit. So d6 plus 1 plus damage bonus for her as well, plus a d4. Got a d4 right here. Surprised she gets d4 damage bonus. Okay. Alright, so 2, 3, 6 damage. Wow, that was a pretty mean shot, so down to 5. Then the beast, once again, odds attacking Norman, evens attacking Dr. Nadelman. Evens this time, it's going after Dr. Nadelman. A 60 still won't hit, back to Norman. 55. $80 won't work. Dr. Nadelman looking for a 25. That's a 92. That won't fly. Then the beast attacking Dr. Nadelman again. That's a 66. Back to Norman. '29's good for a hit. So d6 plus 1 plus damage bonus. Five plus 1 is 6, so we have actually taken the beast out. And we both managed to survive. So that brings us to 378. Norman exerts his usual steadying influence, and together you shake off the worst effects of the fight. You fetch out the first aid kit and then turn your attention to the dead creature. You may attempt first aid to restore 1d3 hit points to yourself and Norman, if you lost that many, which we didn't lose any. Afterward, go to 379. You raise a torch to illuminate the body on the floor and the cave. It is a man-ape of incredible musculature. Your examination satisfies you that this must be what Northern legend calls a Sasquatch. You have the physical evidence here to prove your discovery. If you take the Sasquatch head as a specimen, which we will, record the keyword Stockhouse, then go to 513. So we get keyword Stockhouse. Let's see, then 513. It is time to decide the course of your expedition. Fort McDonald lies within your reach, and you may go there to end your experience in the North Hanina. If you still have an appetite for exploration, you may take a short side trip or even strike back out into the depths of the valley. To return to Fort McDonald, go to 593. To take a side trip, go to 594. If your party still has at least 3 members, you may return to the wilds, go to 425. We do not have at least 3 members. It's Dr. Nadelman and Norman left. So I think we're just going to go right back to Fort McDonald. I think it's time to get out of here with the catastrophe that we've already had. So 593. You pass the place of splitting water with no particular difficulty and reach the calmer waterways of the West Branch. The foraging is ample now, and you recover strength as you draw near to Fort McDonald. Go to 433. After so many days on the river and nights in the woods, it feels strange to sit in a stifling room and answer questions about your conduct. If you have lost any members of your party or have confirmed their death, multiply the number of such losses by 15. This is your liability score. Roll 1d100. If the result is greater than your liability score, go to 530. If the result is equal to or less, go to 531. So we've confirmed 3 party members, so 45 is our liability score. Which means we roll a d100 and we see what our result is. $65, and I believe greater sends us to 530. Right? Yes, 1545. Yeah, 530. Okay. When your report of your party's misfortunes is analyzed by the Canadian authorities, they absolve you of any wrongdoing or neglect. Go to 529. That's a relief. You must decide what to announce as the primary result of your explorations in the valley of the North Hanina. The other discoveries can wait. If you have either the keyword charcoal or the keyword resonate, or both, go to 545. If you have the keyword inchcape, go to 431. If you have more than one of these keywords, you have the opportunity to review each option before making your choice. If you have none of these keywords, go to 430. Well, we do have the keyword inchcape. No, we don't have the keyword inchcape. I thought we did. I think it came up, but we weren't able to. I think it came up, but we couldn't do anything with it. So 430. All right. $430. Even before arriving back in Arkham, you know your lack of hard evidence will undermine your credibility. If your party has lost any of the graduate students, go to 83. If not, go to 33. Well, we lost 2 of the graduate students, so we go to 83. The verdict of the Canadian authorities counts in your favor, but the parents of your students rise up in arms and force a thorough review of your case. They impute that you are an incompetent crank willing to risk additional lives or innocent lives to pursue off-the-wall theories. Your standing in the scientific community is imperiled. You stand on your record. Make an anthropology roll. If you succeed, go to 418. If you succeed, go to 418. If you fail, go to 214. Anthropology roll is 75, and I still have plenty of luck I can put into this. Not that I need it. 37 is right on the edge of a hard success. So, succeed goes to 418. The Board of Inquiry dismisses the charges against you. You settle back into the academic community. Go to 33. That's a relief. 33. Here we are. Although your expedition has failed to produce any hard evidence, your reputation is such that Miskatonic University does not hold it against you. However, as the Great Depression sets in, you find it more difficult to fund new projects. The bizarre stories you have to tell of the North Hanina are greeted with enthusiasm by the sensationalist press, but skepticism by your colleagues. As things go, Your career manages to survive your Hanina experience. The Natalman expedition is over. The end. Well, I suppose that's better than the last time we ran through this, but that will do it for this adventure of Call of Cthulhu Alone Against the Frost. This week we'll feature 2 debut games on the channel. Sunday we're going to play our first sports game on the channel as we play Title Bout 2 from Straight Jab Media. As for next week, we're heading back to the Eastern Front of World War II for hardly the last time as we play Tank on Tank East Front from Lock and Load Publishing. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.